G'day, welcome to the Spearfactor Podcast. I am your host, Isaac, aka Shrek, and if you're with me for the first time today, welcome along for the ride. This is the home of interviews with spearfishing experts, authorities, and characters from around the world. And if you're having a dry spell, if you're just doing a tough patch at the moment, just love your spear, and then you're in the right place. This is a great place to listen in and sort of share vicariously in a few stories, get some actionable tips for your spearfishing, and just froth out on spearing as usual. Today we're chatting with Bret Whitman. He's the host of a newish spearfishing podcast called The SpearFactor. And he's had more than 10 interviews now, and I've listened to at least 3 or 4 of them, and I'm really enjoying his show and seeing the growth in it. And I'd encourage you, if you like the new Spearo podcast, you're probably going to like SpearFactor, so head over and check it out. But Bret's the composite waterman. He spent a lot of time in the military and diving in and around the water in all sorts of different ways. Today we geek out on diving dirty viz. So we talk hunting techniques, we talk equipment, we talk buddy safety. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there. So if you dive dirty water frequently, and most of us have to, it doesn't really matter where you live. Everywhere gets dirty water at times, unless you're absolutely spoilt. So you're going to enjoy it today. Some actionable information as usual. Before I get there, just a real quick shout out. We've got the North Florida Shootout. So go to northflshootout.com. It's a competition over there in Florida. The captain's meeting is August 5th and 6th at Ancient City Brewing. If you want to find out a little bit more about the North Florida Shootout, then definitely go to northflshootout.com. Check it out. Ryan, always providing an awesome comp, and love that stuff. It's been awesome to sponsor and provide a couple of books for prizes there for guys in that area. I just want to thank all the patrons. So patreon.com/NoobSpearo. We've got 30 patrons powering the Noob Spearo podcast. Every single dollar that goes towards the Noob Spearo Patreon funds trips where I get to come out and go diving with you guys, the listeners, with some of the past guests we've had on the show, and follow up on some of the invites I've had. And hopefully do a couple of live interviews. And I've done a few. I did Melbourne late last year. I did New Zealand earlier this year, and I recently got out on the Great Barrier, and I've got 4 more interviews coming out there soon. So definitely head along to patreon.com/NoobSpearo. Jump on, become a patron if you froth out on the show. But hey, let's get into today's episode with Bret Whitman. Boom. This episode of the Noob Spearo Podcast is brought to you by spearfishing.com.au. You might as well check out some gear while you're thinking about spearing and get an idea of what you want to buy later on down the track. Everyone's looking to upgrade something, whether it's your spear gun, your wetsuit, your float. It doesn't matter what it is. Head over to spearfishing.com.au. Fantastic reviews from a whole bunch of people just like you. People that love spearing. If you like, head into the stores. Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney or Perth. There's 70 passionate team members that can give you some help, getting some idea about what to buy next. But the online shopping experience is fantastic too. And if you shop online, for every purchase over $200, if you use the code NoobSpearo, you save $20. Thanks for supporting the Noob Spearo podcast and shopping with spearfishing.com.au. Welcome to the Noob Spearo podcast. We've got Bret Whitman here from SpearFactor Podcast. He's from a really awesome competing podcast, so I didn't really want to get him on the show, but he forced me into it. So welcome to the show, Bret.
Pleasure to be here. Wow, what an introduction.
So, I mean, I've been listening to SpearFactor. So, I listened to a couple of the early ones, but then I listened to Chris Coates, and there was a couple of sound issues, but man, the quality of that interview was excellent. He delivers awesome. And then I followed on and listened to the Mark Healy interview. They blew my socks off. I was loving it.
Yeah, those are going to be tough to follow up with, just because those guys have so much experience combined. But I was really happy to have them on the show. They did it. It was such a good community, I swear. Spearfishing is such an awesome place. Meet the coolest people, you know. It's nice to share with everybody. Yeah.
And unlike me, when you approached the podcast, you had quite a substantial amount of experience spearfishing and quite a lot of knowledge. Like for me, I was pretty much in my early days, and I still am in a lot of ways. I think you've done a lot of spearfishing. I mean, you had a military background, Navy diving sort of experience. Tell us a little bit about that and sort of how that's influenced your spearing.
Yeah, so I mean, to go way back in college, I went to the military academy, West Point, and I played football there. I was on the boxing team, and they got my head rang really good and pretty much failed out for the most part after a few years.
No, jeepers.
Yeah, and then so there's no more contact sports, so that kind of changed my life too, because up till then, it was all contact sports. But I had been introduced to the water from a very, very early age through surfing and even just snorkeling. And so I just started, I got back to San Diego. Well, I got back to California, moved down to San Diego with a friend of mine and tried to like relive college years as best as I could. You know what I mean? And from being like basically locked up to like, all right, let's make up for some lost time. And I started working at this bar, and one of the guys I worked with at the bar, I was a bouncer, and he was, during the day, he trained dolphins and sea lions for the Navy as a contractor. So, and he was leaving to go train dolphins in Hawaii at Oahu. And so he was like, hey, you should, you got a military background or whatever, and you're a water guy, you should apply. And so I was like, I don't know anything about, training dolphins. I love animals. Like I really do. I think they're really cool. I've always been interested in them, but I don't know shit about training dolphins, And so he introduced me to my boss. And my interview was like talking about surfing and diving for an hour.
Yeah. That's a good interview.
Yeah, it was funny.
That's a good job interview.
So I guess I got it yeah. And so that as a 22-year-old, it's a good, so my first week, like that was like a dream job to me, right? Like you're going to pay me to dive and to play with dolphins all day long. And then we get to do like cool military stuff. So I still get to be connected to the military because this was all pre 9/11. And it's something I always wanted to do my whole life. My dad was in the Army and all of that. And my buddies were still there. And anyway, so my very first week of the job was like we were off site doing some practice train missions or whatever with the animals. And like the very first day we went out, and I didn't even know what the hell was going on. There was a dolphin in the water and all that. And then the dolphin saw like a whale and got spooked and took off. And I think I told the story on my podcast too before, but it was like my very first day, dolphin got spooked, saw a whale, took off. We couldn't find her. We had to go fuel the boat up to go try to look for this dolphin running around the ocean. And like, as we're getting fuel, the guy's like, you guys Navy SEALs? I'm like, no, we're not SEALs. And it was one of those like, right, okay, right. Like a wink. I'm like, no, dude, I'm not a SEAL. And he's like, okay, well, you guys usually get a case of beer when you get gas. And I was like, okay, whatever they usually do, So the guy wrote up the case of beer like gas on the shit. And so then we head back out and we're like, drinking beer, driving around the ocean on a government whaler that, that I could never afford probably, chasing, looking for a dolphin. And like, to me, that was like my first week. And I was like, this is the coolest shit ever. Like, this is awesome.
Oh, that's sick.
And I did that job for 12 years, basically diving every day. And like, literally when I say diving every day, I mean diving Monday through Friday. I mean, one year I had like 1,200, 1,400 dives. I mean, they're bounce dives. So they're like 2-minute bottom time. Mm-hmm. But the beauty of that is, eventually it got to the point where it was like, I don't need tanks for this. It's 2 minutes, pretty shallow. So I literally would just free dive all day long, probably 3 days a week. And as the time progressed, 3 days a week. And then I would be a supervisor, dive supervisor the other 2 days.
Okay, cool.
But I spent a ton of time in the ocean. And granted, the thing that I found really interesting is that the time I spent in the ocean was very, very concentrated to certain areas. Surf zone, poor visibility, Southern California. We went around to other places, like the guys went to NewCal one time, Washington, Vancouver, Virginia, the Middle East, but most of the experiences in that area. And so what I found was that I was becoming really well, experienced in my little backyard, but I still didn't know shit when it came to other places, which kept me really humble, I think, for the most part, but yeah, that's how I kind of got into it.
And with sport, because today we've teed up to chat about dirty water diving when we get to the Veterans Vault, and it sounds like a lot of that experience has sort of fed into a fairly comprehensive knowledge about how to do it and how to do it effectively.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like some of us are very fortunate to have a job, and I still kind of do, that feeds into my recreational activity very well. So I've been very fortunate. And yeah, so, in my early days with diving all the time, and then I met guys at work that were into spearfishing, and then I got more into spearfishing as I got more into big wave surfing, because I was kind of practicing breath holds, and then just kind of was what you do when the surf was small, you'd just go spearfish, and then when the surf was good, you would surf. So everything worked out. It led to me spending as much time as I possibly could in the ocean, and small boats and things like that. So I loved it. I still do.
Hey, you must love it, because you've had enough time on top of working in the ocean and spearfishing all the time to go and start a spearfishing podcast and start talking with some of the people around the world that you've wanted to make connections with. So that's pretty awesome, man. So you live in California. Just give us a sort of a bit of an overview of where you live and what the dive conditions are, when you head out spearfishing now.
Yeah, so I live in San Diego, California, Southern California, and it's pretty much very similar throughout all of Southern California. They kind of consider it Northern California the minute you pass Point Conception. There's that little part of California that sticks out, and it gets real sharky, and bad viz and things like that. But bad viz to our what we think is bad viz. But so, and for us in Southern California, we do a lot of kelp diving, looking for sea bass, a lot of reef diving where we look for sheep's head to make ceviche out of, or calico bass, sand bass. And then, that's what I mainly focused on for 15 years before I could afford a boat and get offshore, and then there's that aspect where we have, the visibility could be anywhere from, I went out last Friday and it was 6 inches because we had the red tide. You've probably seen some of the bioluminescent stuff, but it's real clear underneath. It's just dark, so you need a flashlight.
Okay.
Yeah, but so it could be that. Go ahead.
That'd feed in really well with the kelp. You've already got kind of this loss of light because of the heavy kelp beds, and then you've got a layer of this red tide on the top as well. I'd imagine it'd be incredibly dark, even in the middle of the day. Yeah,
it's really. I don't typically try to go spearfishing in it. We've been quarantined for 6 weeks, and I was I'm going. I don't care. Probably have to run into a sea bass to actually hit it. But, when it's dark, the darkest pitch dark you could possibly imagine, the first 10 feet. It is just straight dark. You have total loss. But what I notice is if you go down and look up, the hole that you punch through the red tide gives a little bit of light. And then also when we were diving at work, we would bring flashlights to try to find stuff on the bottom. And what we found was I remember when I was younger, it was wow, the visibility is actually really good usually, because red tide usually happens in the summertime when where it kind of settles down. It's not that much surf. And we typically get I guess I would say early summer, we get really good viz and kind of on and off through that time into fall. And then the surf starts to pick up, and it's not necessarily we get bad viz. The conditions get a little more serious though, as far as shore diving and things like that, surge.
Okay.
And then the colder water comes in, right? Because then that changes everything too. Colder water comes in, and then all the fish that usually hunt, like sea bass, they all bounce and go and either go deep water or Yellowtail. That's the other big one we hunt around here is yellowtail, kingfish, you know.
Yep.
And then offshore, I mean, most of that stuff is in the kelp. And most of that stuff is like most of those fish species, like the game fish wise, as far as white sea bass and yellowtail, they're all like 30 feet, like and higher, you know. I mean, you can find them deeper for sure. But they're not, I guess by our definition as spearfishermen, like they're not deep. They're not like really deep diving fish. You go offshore now, it's a different thing where you get the blue water where you're getting the kelp that breaks off, kelp patties that breaks off from up north and they drift down. That's like the little, I call them like rest stop areas in the middle of the ocean for, you know, little mini like,
Mahi.
yeah. When the water gets warm enough, like the water temp will be like, we had one year it was like 78 offshore, which I'm not sure what that would be. Sounds good.
I'm following it up to have a look. 78 F to Celsius. Or what do you guys see? You're like 25 C.
Yeah. No, we just say Celsius. It was 75 degrees. Yeah.
Yeah, that's 25 degrees Celsius is 78. That's warm water, I think. But I think even now I've got 24 degrees, which is probably 74 or something.
Usually we're
degrees.
lucky to get like 70, you know, like that's 68, probably average 68, 70. But then as you go offshore, the water temp will go up a lot of times too, because you don't get those updwellings that you get like from the coast there.
Okay.
But usually in the summertime, you're looking at anything like high 60s, low 70s. And then we get mahi. One year we had that crazy year where it was really warm. We got wahoo. But usually you'll get yellowtail on the kelp patties, some dorado, mahi, and then the tuna, which like we get yellowfin, which I've never shot one from here locally, and we get the bluefin, the big bluefin that everybody's like, you know, hearing about ever.
Everyone froths over.
Yeah, that's a love-hate relationship there. That kind of, it's like playing whack-a-mole. Like
in terms of the hunting, you mean?
Yeah, like so the reason why, okay, it's funny, like, you know, you hunt, like we spearfish because we love to be in the ocean. So you spend all day in a kelp bed, like looking, you may not see anything, but you still spent like all day on a kelp bed or all day on a reef, you know, and you saw something, right?
Yeah.
You go offshore for tuna and you're just driving around looking for tuna and obviously in certain spots, but you may not see them at all. You might have to meter them, like see them on the meter, or if you do see them, they'll be, the worst is when they're all around you. You see them everywhere. And the minute you try to get in, it's like, whew, just gone.
Yeah.
And you don't even get a chance. It's like, I got excited last year because I saw 3 of them underwater. That was like the whole year. That was like as close as I got. And they were coming like, I don't know, 20 knots, just right past me. And I was like, oh, okay.
So your bluefin, they're a Pacific bluefin?
Right. Yeah. Northern.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to work out the genuses and subgenuses. I'm pretty terrible with fish knowledge in general. How's your fish knowledge?
It's about the same. No, it's like I know what I know, my little, you know, pretty well. And it's okay. It's not bad. I don't try to be a marine biologist. I can assure you that. Like, but
I'm trying to learn more. Like, there's a book here in Australia called Grant's Guide to Fishes, and Daniel Mann and Trevor Kitchen, like 2 local guys. Well, Daniel was local, that know a lot. You both referred to this book. I bought it, and it's just sitting there and neglected. It's hard to sit down and sort of study a manual, isn't it, and learn all the scientific names and stuff. I mean, if it had all the hunting tech, you know, like people's opinions on how to hunt them effectively and information about their sustainability and, you know, movement behaviors and stuff like that, I'd probably be more interested. But it just seems a little dry, like it's like an encyclopedia to pick up.
Yeah, it's probably written from a scientist, you know, like very factual. Like, so my thing that I'm really more into than anything, and it was the same way when I was training animals, was that I'm more into animal behavior, like than worry about like the geniuses and the species and the subspecies. Like, I like that stuff to know how it relates into animal behavior, like with orcas all over the world, different hunting techniques. Same with like sharks too. And the reason why that kind of the reason why I kind of like that side is because that's the side I see when I'm in the water. Like when all of us, when we're hunting, right? You understand their behavior. Like how do they hunt? Like where do they hide? Like their behavior. And so when I travel places, right, like I said, it keeps you humble because it's like, here I am, I'm in the tropics. Look, I mean, I know obviously what the fish are, but I don't really know their behavior, and I like to know their behavior. It's like I can write a book and tell you how to go hunt sea bass, but you're really not going to know shit until you spend time in the water and realize that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, there's you could put information in a book that would give people, a few ways to help shape their observation skills. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes people don't know what to look for until they've been pointed a few things out to look for. You know what I mean? Like it's like you look at some of these books with fish species and you see the colors and the patterns, and then you get underwater and they look completely different.
Or variations and all that stuff. There's so many variations.
Yeah. Depending on their maturity and time of year or spawning status or whatever the hell it is. But yeah, the coloration changes, and then, we lose color the further down the water column we go. So everything changes.
I mean, Daniel Mann did that great video recently of the, I think because he was saying,
coral trout.
I was like, thank you. What the hell is a coral? Is it, because I've shot them and it's like, someone's like, is that a Rory? Like they call it in Hawaii, or a coral trout. I'm like, I don't know, dude. They look the same. I thought it was a coral trout. All the boys told me here is coral trout. Oh, it is a coral trout. It's just a type of coral trout, which is a type of Rory, which is a type, I'm like, shit, man. I don't know. It was good eating, you know? So, yeah.
We were chatting a little bit about that. I was chatting about that last time with them as well. We were talking about maybe creating some sort of place where we could create a directory with footage or stuff underwater, and I think he's just started that on his own, so it's fantastic. He's a clever dude, old dad.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I tried to do something like that on my website too, where it was like a fish guide. Like I'll tell you everything I know, like the fish species that I've hunted personally, and like this is what I've found works, or this is and you could go on and on about it, and it's like, and then every area you go to could be totally different too, where like the fish should have different habits and different, Yeah,
it's good. I started reading Pip Van Rooyen's guide to spearfishing South Africa, and like his book's probably one of the best I've read in terms of how it sort of sets it out and gets people to think about it. And he even sort of talks a bit about how their behavior changes in different parts of South Africa. And it's like, well, what hope do the rest of us have of, if we're 4,000 nautical miles away, that same species of fish probably does everything different. You know what I mean? But there's certain things that you can, like when you start looking and learning through another hunter's perspective, you can, it almost like it trains you to go, oh, that's what I'm meant to pay attention to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's the thing, like just passing the knowledge and trying to say, like, in general, this is what you should look for, Like in general, this is how you should rig up your gear for this species. And like we had numerous talks with everybody I know that is pretty well versed in shooting dogtooth tuna, especially big dogs, like bigger grade dogtooth. And everybody has a totally different opinion, like from Chris Coates, Brandon Weiler's, like everybody has a different, like, my buddy Paul Rodriguez from Hot Rod Spearguns, same thing. Like they're all pretty much like, they all have their own little tweak to it, and they all land fish. So like, I think it's, and Chris kind of said it the best too. He was like, well, it could be different on my reef. Like it could be different on this reef, not his reef, but like this reef, and it could be different on the other reef.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Well, look, while we're talking about memorable fish and stuff, let's hear one of yours. What's a fish hunt that really stands out for you?
Well, it's kind of like, the biggest thing about the whole hunting fish, it's really not even, I mean, the fish is kind of the nice thing, but more importantly, it's like the scenario of how everything happens, and like you're there with your boys. And so for me personally, recently, I would say it was the dogtooth that I shot, and like, and the reason why that was like special to me was that I never thought that I would find myself in the area of the world where I was, and with the type of people that I've met. I was there for work, which is kind of funny. Like I was there for work, but after work, I'm spearing, or surfing if there's waves. And I met some of the most solid friends of mine now. And, we would go out, we all kind of learned, like I had a lot of blue water experience for the most part, but blue water experience in California, right? Which is different everywhere you go. And so I kind of told them, like, shared some things with them that I learned, and then they shared some things with me. And so as a team, we kind of went out and started hunting these outer places and things like that. And I must have lost like 10 dogtooth, like which is not, I'm not proud of that. I mean, definitely I screwed up where it's like I took way too far of a shot, even though I knew I could make the shot and my gun would make the shot. It's not a recipe for a accurate shot shooting at 25 feet away. Hitting, but anyways, long story short, I ended up shooting a 35 kilo, that's 65 pound dogtooth at the end of the day. Right. And like, it's funny because to me, I never thought I would even have a shot at, and I've landed other dogtooth too, but that was the biggest one for me, other than like a 25 pounder or a 30 pounder. That was like definitely the one I'm proud of, because what it took to get that fish in the boat, and also all the effort that went into it, and all the planning that went into it, and the sharks trying to deal with that shit, and then like the failure, learning through failure. And like, to me, it was so funny because that same day, I think I talked to another guy who was hunting for dogs in another part of the world, because he had posted something about he was doing a rigging party at his house or something, like.
Okay.
And I was like laughing because I was doing the same thing in my one apartment. It was, the tides were right, the moon was right, and then I landed that fish, and I was so proud of it. I posted up. It was like, it might as well be 1,000 pound, tuna. It was like, yeah, because everything that went into it. And then I think Brandon posted his 200 pound doggy. And I was like, this motherfucker. Yeah, it was like, this upstaging motherfucker. It's like, it was like, yay. Oh, how come yours is so much bigger than mine, But
I think, like, I was chatting with this a little while ago too. It's like a lot of the times all we see from a person is them standing on the back of a boat holding up a big fish. And it's like people that don't spearfish sort of look at that and they think, oh, look at this trophy hunting dick or whatever. But like, that photo that we all go for with those special fish represents so much more to us than just standing there with a big fish. Like, we're thinking about the people we went, the planning that went into it, the special shots, the things that didn't go right. Where, and that picture tells that whole story. That picture tells 1,000 words. Well, the spearfishing picture tells 1,000 words that only us, we understand, what I mean?
No, exactly. Like my buddies, they're like the one drop spearfishing team, or whatever, the little team, or little, I don't know, team, whatever, group of guys or whatever. We put so much time in, and because we had lost so many dogtooth, and we both were very like conscious as far as like, we don't want to start just killing shit and like screwing up. We got to increase this landing ratio, because this is pretty fucked up, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's just stupid. You can't sit there and yell sustainability and then just go like lose shit all the time. I mean, granted, nothing was wasted. I mean, sharks got a lot of them, but which was
that's kind of wasted.
Yeah, it's exciting. But and so we sat down, and like my friend Mike and my buddy Rob, like, we came up with this like collaborative effort of like the roles everybody's going to take. And it's kind of similar to the roles in that Adreno spearfishing video, like how to hunt dogtooth, where it's like somebody's on the, and it's true, like everybody has their role. And like, I definitely could not have landed that fish if it wasn't for my buddies. I mean, maybe I don't care, dude. It's not about ego. I'll take any help anybody wants to give me, unless I'm shooting a world record. I don't care. To me, it's all about seeing the stoke, or whatever you want to call it, on my buddy's face and my face. And like, exactly what I'm talking about. When you watch a video, and like my friend Rob did this, he shot a 90-pound dog, and the float went all the way down, the evolved float disappeared, and it came back up, and it came up, and that was the biggest dog anybody of us, like, I think had shot at that point. And he is screaming like a fucking little girl, like, yeah! And it's like, dude, that's it right there. That's why I don't do this for the picture of like the giant fish. Like, that's cool to show your kids and stuff. But like, dude, to see your buddy so amped, like, it's so awesome. Like, I don't know. It's just nice to share and all of that. And like, that's the whole reason why we do all of this, like to eat fish and all of that. But like, it's better than me sitting in a bar drinking, I guess. Like, you know, like.
Okay. So you're Dogtooth, right? So, sorry, where were you again, and what time of day was it?
So I was in Micronesia, like, yeah. I mean, everyone knows, like, I was going to Guam for work for months on end, and that's another thing that's kind of unique, right? You sit in somewhere for months and months and months, so a lot of it's opportunity. So I was very fortunate to have the opportunity at the time, and you know, we typically, like, there's no secret there. It's like you need good current. Real good current. So like, I think it was low going to high. Yeah, I'm trying to remember now. I can't even remember now. Jeez. And
I'm not too worried about the specific conditions that culminated in that doggy workup or whatever it was. But I mean, in terms of, so you guys were in the water, there was current running, you're in Guam. Tell us, so who were the two guys you were in the water with, and yeah, so we had one of our good buddies who's just started spearfishing too. He's a doctor, MJ, and he's a super good dude. And we were like trying to tell him, okay, you're gonna have the little guns, so like you can shoot rainbow runners and get some of the other stickers. Those are tasty. And then two guys will have the big tuna guns for Dogtooth, and then somebody be on the flasher and chumming, and like kind of on shark watch, right? And so it was myself, my buddy Mike was driving the boat, his boat, and he's the one, like, that's the I talk about sometimes, like he's the biologist, the marine biologist and professor. So it's like I try to pick his brain about the fish stuff, because it's great to dive with him because he'll kind of explain everything. So my buddy Mike, and then MJ, and then my other friend who's just a freak of a diver is Dan Cooper. That guy has like a heart problem where his heart stops beating or goes super slow at some point. It's like, I watched this dude sit on the bottom for like 3.5 minutes, and like, I was like, is he dead? Like, I don't know, like, what point? And he comes up, you know, just super mellow, and I was like, dude, you got to let me know. Like, you know, another time we were scouting something out, he dives down, he's like, hey, my line got stuck on something, you know, and I'm like, yeah, you're at 100 feet, dude. You know, he's like, oh, okay. I'm like, fucking asshole. You know? So anyways, like, and so you're in the water with these dudes?
Yeah, my buddy Brennan too. He was I'm pretty sure that was the crew. I can't remember, but that was the crew, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, and so I shot the fish.
Hang on.
All right. So Shaman,
tell me the full story. I know you've told this story like 10 times, but I want to know the full deal.
Yeah.
So was it a single fish? Was it a big school?
It's funny,
were you over
like,
structure? How deep was the water?
Yeah, it's funny because it's like a 65-pound fish, right? It's not like, you know.
Nah, man, no. Don't do that to yourself. It's a special fish, man.
Yeah, it's very special to me. So yeah, we, you know, found which way the current was going, right? So we obviously go up current, we put in the blue water, and then you drift, and you know, you can see the fish species show up. And usually if you see the rainbow runners, you're like, okay, cool. There was some action. Rainbow runners, and here comes the sharks, of course. Okay. Then you start seeing like one single doggy. We saw one, like you'll see them. You can always tell because they got that little white spot on their fins, and it looks like a little torpedo. And you see, like, we saw, like, I think a 20, and I could be meshing the stories. We were going out every weekend, like a 25-pounder or whatever. And then, you know, then you look down and we get picked up again. That was the only one we saw. And we were up on the bank at this point, and there was a lot of sharks. So I was like, don't shoot anything yet. We go back up, drop back in again, and then all of a sudden it's like, I see this, you know, decent size. And it's hard to tell in the blue water. I mean, until you see like a gigantic one where you're like, oh, you know. And I don't mean gigantic like 80 pounds. I mean like 200 pounds. Like,
yeah.
Or like proper, like, holy shit, that's up, you know. So I saw this like solid doggy, and I was like, and I look over to make sure, anybody see this? Anybody good? Like, you know, because you don't just want to start diving down on stuff and shoot, because you have two guys converge, like, again, make all these mistakes myself, but you just want to communicate a lot. So everybody's looking like they're doing their thing, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go. And so I dropped down and kind of, you know, chase, I don't want to say chase after, but chase straight down and try to, you know, it's that cat and mouse game with a fish where you're like, I'm hunting you and I'm not hunting you. I'm hunting you and I'm not hunting you. I'm not looking at you, you know?
Yeah.
And then he kind of came by me probably like 20 feet. It was not close, and I got lucky. And this kind of leads me into making my own gear and all that stuff, because I made my own gun, my own float line, my own floats. But I knew, and that confidence, I knew like I can hit that fish, no problem. And I know it'll penetrate. And I hit it, and this, you know, everything penetrated, everything went good. And that thing took off, and we had one of those, Diver R, those giant like doggy stopper floats.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that thing almost took that thing down. Like it was like 200 pounds positive, I think, or something like that. I don't know. Like a 70-pound fish, whatever it was at the time, took that thing and like pinned it down. And I saw my bungee flow line that I made like get stretched to like pencil thin, you know. But I had 2,000-pound Dyneema core.
Yeah.
And I braid it, and I back braid it, and then anyways, like, yeah, and it was like, hopefully everything holds, you know. But what I noticed when I shot it, you know, the bigger fish, like bigger than 50 pounds, they always try to be cool, like, oh, I'm not really wounded sometimes, and they try to swim off fast without getting the attention of too many sharks. But what I noticed with the bigger dogs, like what my buddies and I kind of noticed with the bigger dogs, the sharks, certain sharks won't mess with them. Like, depending on where you're at now too, this could be totally different on another reef.
Yeah.
But like the big dogtooth, the sharks will stay away from them. I've seen silver tips come and like, you know, bite a 50-pound dog in half. But like, as far as like the majority, like the gray reefs, like they won't mess with them. So, and I shot him, and I saw a gray reef look at him and kind of leave. And I was like, okay, so the shark thing would be good, should be good. And then of course they're so smart. I mean, they go right for the ledge. And I was like, oh, please, you know. And I had cable because of the sharks and the you know, tendency for them to run along the bottom. Yeah, he did that initial run, and it was super impressive, and everybody's cheering like little girls, you know. Just that whole day.
Yeah, 100%.
Including myself. Yeah, and then I started trying to put pressure, like just let the float do the thing, you know, do its thing. And then the fish, what I noticed with Dogtooth is they do that initial run. It's incredible. It's like second to none. And then they get worn out pretty quick. And once you start bringing them up, it's usually over. They have a pretty large swim bladder, I guess, compared to most fish. So once you start to pull them up and they can't regulate that swim bladder, they're kind of toast, you know? Where like a bluefin tuna will drown you. Like you don't, like that fish will be fighting you to the end. But it may not be as that initial run that a dog does is insane. So basically what I noticed was that I was pulling it up, trying to get it up, and I was taking up line and all that, and it was good. But I was like breathing like, you know, I had no breath. I mean, I dove like down to 65 feet or whatever to shoot it, but it came up and it was just like, you know, and my buddy Dan, he actually went down and put the second shot in it. I think he actually missed the second shot, maybe not. Anyways, he went down and put the second shot. He ended up putting the second shot in it. It's just a clusterfuck. You know how it is? Like, yeah, nothing looks cool. Like, it's just a shit show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're trying to piece together the story after, and you've all got slightly different recollections as well.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. So, 100%. And so Dan ended up putting a second shot in it, and then I just pulled it up, and he grabbed out his knife and grabbed it and just stabbed it in the head. And so I have this on my camera, which is pretty cool, this big dogtooth head, and then Dan stabbed it in the head, and everybody thought that was me. I'm like, no, that's my friend stabbing my fish in the head. Like, was you really your friend? I'm like, dude, I don't care. I shot it, hunted it, shot it, whatever, and then you know, brought it over the boat and threw it in, and it was really special to me because I got to do it with all my buddies, and again, I feel like I coach high school football too, and it's like I feel like when you do something together as a unit, it's just so much more special. You know, when everybody does.
Yeah, man.
Because I couldn't have done it without them. You know, I mean, it'd be nice, yeah, to say I did it without them. I guess I could have, but it wouldn't have been as special. You know, so that was the big dog.
I think there's the culture of individually dispatching and catching your fish is brought about by the world record sort of rules and stuff, and there's a fair bit of stuff in the fair chase stuff, I guess, about it. But I honestly reckon all of those blue water fish are collaborative efforts. So, like, learning how to celebrate, team effort is friggin' awesome. I love it. I reckon it's one of the coolest things about spearfishing.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, why do you do it? That's the question, you know. Why do you spearfish? Do you spearfish so you can put photos of big fish and praise yourself? Great, dude. Like, hear that? Nobody gives a shit. That's what I always say. Like, great. You know what I mean? Like, cool. You're still an asshole or whatever. I don't know, dude. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
If that's all it is, then I agree with you, man.
Yeah, that's not shitting on anybody that's into that. I'm just saying, like, you know.
Shit all over them.
Yeah.
Love it. No, that's cool. So I mean, you've got this Dogtooth up. It's your most celebrated fish to date. Did you guys sashimi that up? What was the evening celebrations after that day?
So we got back to the boat ramp, pulled the boat, parked it at my buddy Mike's yard, and then he's got a fish table right on the beach in Guam there.
Terrible.
And
that sounds awful.
Yeah, it's absurd. Yeah, it's absurd. Like, and we filleted it right there, and we were eating it right there, you know, and like just giant chunks. You know, so much tuna, man, so much meat on those things. And yeah, I was just sitting there eating it with my buddies, and then his wife, and he are like really good cooks. His wife is like a really good cook too, and so we've been trying to figure out ways to like prepare dogtooth, because there's a lot of people that don't, I guess, really eat dogtooth, and I think some of it is because dogtooth are kind of solo predators. They kind of just they're not schooling tuna, so they can't just go massively swoop up a big school of dogtooth. You know, you got to individually fish for them. So like they may not get them. Depending on the type of hunting or type of fishing, commercial fishing they do locally, they may not really have access to them all that much.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But I
get what you mean.
I like dogtooth though. Yeah, it's really good. So yeah, that's my story.
Cool, man.
I have a good story about a fish that I didn't even shoot. That's pretty damn memorable. Like, you know, to me.
Hook me up.
And it's the first time I got Vortex by like 200-pound tuna. Like, first time diving for tuna and the first drop, and it was schooled by 200-pound tuna. And like, that's that shit that was like, to me, is like, wow, this is why I do this. This is like National Geographic, and like not that many people have seen this. And I know people that have, and like the people that have, well, there's not that many. There's probably like I don't know how many people there are. There's not that many as far as population goes, right? And
Yeah.
And I was the first time hunting tuna, and I blew the shot. I shot too low, and I watched this big tank of a fish just like turn away and swim away, and I just like could have cried underwater. And my buddies.
Do you feel that the fish looked at you with disgust?
Yes. Like, and the reason why I say that is because nothing was fast. Like, I missed him, and he just kind of slowly went like, dumbass, and just left.
Yeah.
I was like, this.
I've had that feeling too. That's why I asked.
Yeah. And I was like, God damn it. Like, yeah. And so I came up, and my buddy had a turn. My buddy Javier had another turn, and he shot one. And I know it was 200 because he shot a 210-pounder. That was how big his was. But at the same time, we all jumped in. Like, my job was to try to film it. And then I had to put a tail around the thing and like drag it up. And like he was diving down, and we had a few beers too. So that was kind of interesting. Like he's a Hawaiian, he's a nutty diver too. He's like 88 feet, drunk as shit, shooting a tuna. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I had like 12 beers. I was like, oh my God, dude. Like, okay. And I'm not really that big of a drinker, but like, yeah, he told me that afterwards. Like, okay. So anyways, we got that fish on, and that was like my exposure to like really hunting big pelagics because we just never got them here. So, and I never really traveled too much with that intention. Like I did my honeymoon in Fiji, and back then I had no idea what an idiot I was for not, bringing all my stuff.
It sounds like you're a half decent freediver. One thing I've been getting curious about lately is how fast people's dive response, that mammalian dive reflex, kicks in. Like, do you get in the water? How long do you think it takes? How many dives before you start diving comfortably in your body, or do you know what I mean? Like, you can feel when it's like when it clicks in. And some days it doesn't at all, and you just feel like shit all day. But when it clicks in and you're riding that sweet spot and you're diving good, how long for you does that take most days when you go diving?
For me, it took about 20 years. I'll tell you why. No, because like I said, in California, you don't really have to be that great of a diver for the most part. Like everything I was hunting was shallow, right? And in the middle, for the most part, or the kelp. The kelp's 60 feet, and you can pretty much dive that over just rehearsing it. You don't really need a dive class. I ended up taking a dive class. I took an advanced dive class, and everybody was telling me about like free diving and this like spiritual thing they have going on when they're diving. I'm like, dude, I've never fucking I don't just relax and enjoy the dive. Like, I don't enjoy this fucking dive. The free diving was just a way to get down to shoot fish. I like hunting. I am not a free diver. And so I had to change my mentality of this like football mentality, or like this meathead mentality of like, I'm going to go to 100 feet today and nothing's going to stop me. And what I found, which is interesting about freediving, is like, it's the opposite. You can't, like, I'm already a naturally competitive person anyways.
No.
And I'm really competitive against myself.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean? Like more than anything, right?
Yep.
So what I noticed was like, I had to like just stop giving a shit, like let go. What I trained, and then when I just let go, everything was easier. So for me, it's more about to get that. What I found was, one day we were diving, and all of a sudden, like everything was easy, and I was going to 75 feet, and I was like, wow, this is like okay, like what did I do? I don't know. Like, to be honest, I don't really know. And then so what I found was, and then coming back, this is when I was gone. It was clear and warm and all nice. And then coming back here, what I found was like a lot of self-talk. Like for me, in order to get my dive reflex to even kick in, I have to be relaxed to begin with. And so what I notice is, like, to answer your question, I guess it's like usually 3 or 4 dives of really, okay. And I'll know in those first couple of dives, like that first dive to 30 feet is like, oh my God, I'm spazzing out. Like, you've been diving your whole life and you're spazzing out. Give me a break, dude. Like, it's literally like, and you get like those depth triggers, right? Like at 60 feet, I'll get like depth triggers where I'll start to like, or whatever. Chicken, like, and it's like,
yeah.
And I found myself, when that happens, I just talk to myself the whole time. I go, dude, calm down. You're fine. You're fine. And then once I do that, after that first like initial, like, I don't know, first dive's like 30 feet. Usually I'll just go down just to like, even if it's mid-water, I'll just go down to like try to get my lungs stretched out and everything good and get used to it and start those dives early. And then the next one will be like 60 feet. And then depending if I'm hunting at 60 feet or deeper, which I try to stay about 60 feet, to be honest with you. Like, I can go deeper, but like I know I can sustain that for a while. I'll just talk to myself a lot, and I will know time on the surface, right? I don't know if you've noticed, when you breathe up, 2 minutes feels like 20 minutes, but what I have found through training exclusively freediving when I was in Guam, a few days a week, is that it's all about that surface interval and relaxing and just letting go. And then you know what? There's also the fact that maybe it's just a bad day. It is the most bizarre shit ever to me, is that your body is weird because it does have those bad days. But I've just noticed like 3 times, and what my plan is to do 3 times, and then I'll start pushing it. But in order to get to that point, I've got to talk myself into that.
Yeah, cool. There's a few differences, I think, because I train with some freediving guys, and the biggest swim they do of a night will always be their first one. And they pretty much, because the first dive of their night is the most oxygenated your blood will ever be, because after you start doing any sort of breath hold stuff, there's a slight depletion. It doesn't matter how long you recharge for. And obviously the longer the surface interval, the more it'll recharge back as close to 100 as possible. However, it'll never be there as much as it is in that first sort of dive. So they always do their first big swim. And I started sort of thinking and having that expectation of myself, like, but spearfishing's not the same. It's not the same at all. It's like, because there's a mindset and there's a state that we get ourselves into to hunt effectively. And part of it's being relaxed, I think. And the other part of it is sort of, like you say, like this self-talk thing, like talking yourself into, no, this is my place. I'm comfortable here. And this is what I do every week. And this is comfortable for me. This is good. This is my zone. And there is an element of that self-talk. I don't know if it's subconscious for a lot of people, but it's something that I've become a bit more conscious of recently.
Yeah, and that's a good point, though. I mean, spearfishing is definitely not freediving. And you can try to blend the two in as best as you can, like even just vertical drops, where a lot of times we're spearfishing, we're like trying to look around on our way down. We don't want to just fall into the Zen state and go down and miss half the fish in the water column, or drop right on top of a fish. Or like in my case, I knew I was doing a drop to like 85 feet, or I thought it was 85 feet. And I swam right into the fucking bottom. Almost knocked myself out. That's a great story too. My buddies were watching me. We were in an island, and it's most ridiculous Vis. And there was like a little valley at 85 feet, and then there was two little hills about 60. And so I swam up current and started my breathe up, and then I swam down. And I was swimming down, and I knew like 85 feet's like a deep dive for me, to be honest. Like, okay, I gotta get my shit together and dive, and I felt fine. But so I just got in this super zen-like. It was perfect, and I was like, dude, I feel so good. I could go to 100. And my buddies are watching me just finning down, and like, okay, Brett. And I had a camera on, and just wham, straight into the bottom, because I missed the valley and hit the hill part, I guess. And then I was like, oh shit. And I looked around, and I see all these little like reef fish, like, what a dumbass. What are you doing? You know, like eating all the shit that I just knocked up. But fortunately, I had my camera on. So then I was like, well, I'm here. Might as well just stay on the bottom and try to call some fish in.
I think I was also thinking about this too the other day. It depends on what we're hunting, because there's the dive bomb where we sort of try and get directly overhead. Like, works really well with like parrot and maybe sheep's head's the same, but you can drop straight down on top of them, keep a minimal profile, and then sort of scon them from a top down sort of shot. But then some of the other hunting we do is we want to be right on the bottom, you know, using some cover or something like that. But then some of the stuff we do is mid water, where you're hunting or looking around for maybe yellowtail or king mackerel in your well, not in your part of the world, are they? But around the other side of the coast. But so very much depends on where you are and what you're hunting, I guess. But the Zen freediving stuff works, I think, if you are bottom hunting, but you've got to remember when to pull up.
Yeah, it was good. I was in a Zen-like state until I got, punched in the head by a reef. It was pretty awesome. But it was best because it was so clear, so my buddies could just watch me clear as day. Just boom.
Yeah, cool.
And they were laughing their ass. They're like, man, I'm just impressed you stayed down there and like stuck with the dive. I'm like, well, I'm just down there. Fuck it.
I'm here now.
Yeah. So
just with the bump on my head. So
I think everybody knew I was there too, though. That was the problem.
Upgrading to composite or carbon fiber spearfishing fins is a huge step in your spearfishing journey, and you want to make a smart investment. So I'm going to suggest investing your moolah in penetrator fins. These fins have got long-lasting performance. They've got a warranty that outperforms anything else in the industry. Check them out at penetratorfins.com. Their before and after sales service is absolutely phenomenal. These fins are being worn by champions all over the world. Check them out at penetratorfins.com. For a limited time only, use the code NoobSpearo to save $25 on any purchase of composite or carbon fiber fins. Check them out, penetratorfins.com. I love hearing spearfishing adventures. I love hearing about the challenges, the amazing moments, the special people, the fish, the crew, the prep, the highlights. I love the whole lot. And there's another place where you can hear and read about people's spearfishing adventures, people just like you. Check it out, spearingmagazine.com. Every story is full of those stoke moments that fuel the fire and get you excited for your next spearfishing adventure. Check it out at spearingmagazine.com. Hey, Veterans Vault, man, let's get into it. I pumped this up on the Noob Spearo community on Facebook, and I'll link that up in today's show notes. So if people go to noobspearo.com/, let's do SpearFactor, because that's the name of your podcast, and then I'll link up the Noob Spearo community on there. But we had a ton of questions about diving in dirty water, and I think this is it's a frequent issue for people in nearly every part of the world. You know, like everyone looks at everyone else's part of the world and thinks the water's cleaner there, but quite often we're all dealing with some form of shit, Viz.
Yeah, it just depends on the tide, or, I've seen it in tropics where it's like, here comes a cloud of shit or whatever it is, cloud of, bye-bye. Yeah, so like I was saying about diving as a contractor for the Navy and the Dolphins, like most of the stuff they did was like post-World War II cleanup and in the shallow water region. So where there's a lot of surge, sand, and then in bays, estuaries, muddy bottoms where you could stick your arm all in the mud, and over doing that over like I was saying, like 12 years, like there was some stuff that I never realized. I guess I forgot that is not secondhand nature to a lot of people. And we actually had a recent a death here. One of the divers here in California died, and I don't think it was I don't know if I guess they're all preventable, but there was just some rules that like I try to follow to help minimize entanglement, right? Especially with no visibility, because you don't have the option of knowing what's really going on. So like for me, the first thing I do, like, right, when you talk about gear and you're diving in no visibility, like the first thing you have to deal with is the free diving part, because everybody's like, I can't dive. And so you got to know your water depth you're actually diving in to begin with. And what I learned through doing it over time is that you got to listen to your body. Like I know at 22 feet, I have to clear my ears. So I don't even need, I can look at my watch on the way down for sure. But more importantly, I know like if I'm going to 30 feet, and I just know that, okay, 22 feet, so it should be coming up on the bottom. And if it's so bad I can't see my watch, then I probably shouldn't be hunting there either way. But like, or the classic thing which happens is for new guys, if you're diving a silty bottom or whatever it is, you come thunder gunning down there and you hit the bottom, and then there goes your viz. Like every time a new guy, you're like, dude, you just totally blacked us out right now. So what I like to do is I get to like I start to slow down, obviously, right before I hit the bottom. If I know it's 30 feet, I'll actually hover like 5 feet off the bottom and let my eyes adjust slightly because it's usually a little darker, And then, so I'll sit there and I'll hover and I'll look where I'm going to land so that I don't land on like a halibut and spook, or land on the ground and spook everything. Or if it's really, really, or, you never know what you're going to land on. There's plenty of stuff to get stung by too. And I'll just kind of float down really, really gently so that when I land, I just kind of like put my hand on the bottom, and I actually keep my fins arced up, like facing the top, so that when I kick, it's not all washing out everything behind me and creating a big cloud. And so I'll literally like either crawl my fingertips real slow, or I'll just sit there and look around, depending on what I'm hunting. But the bottom line is when you start to go down, you don't want to go down. You can go down fast in the beginning, but at the last part, stop, like just over, look at what you're doing, let your eyes adjust. So when that you land on the bottom, you're ready to go, you're ready to hunt.
So you go down, and for you, it's you equalizing, and that's your trigger, and then you start to level out, and then you just sort of let yourself
float down,
sink down on. Yeah. So weighting would be an issue too. You'd have to have your weighting pretty good.
Yeah, that's a big thing too. Yeah, you don't want to fall like a rock and then just and then it's the same weighting, I guess, for anything really. I try to be slightly If I'm hunting shallow, I want to be a little bit negative, but but yeah, I don't want to be so heavy that I just fall like a rock and create a big. I should be in control the whole time, even if it's me feathering with my hands to create less like disturbance with my fins, because fins are so strong nowadays too, and they just
I was talking with a Rochelle Potter from New Zealand a little while ago, and she got quite into detail about developing those really fine controls for how you fin when you're on the bottom and hunting. And I mean, you're talking about it too. It's like pulling yourself along with your fingertips and, like...
Flick your wrist, your ankles. You're not really doing kicks. You're just kind of fluttering your ankles.
Yeah. Which freedivers would look at and go, oh, your finning technique is no good. But
terrible.
But it's a hunting finning technique.
Right.
It's not a freediving finning technique. You're not doing it for efficiency. You're doing it for sort of stealth and an application to not spook the wildlife around you, I guess.
Yeah, and that's just it, because you can't see, so you don't want to just run up on anything either. So everything's got to be super slow. Yeah, that's just like if I do move, I literally just kind of flick my feet and at like a 45-degree angle, so the majority of the and that keeps me on the ground, but it keeps me kind of controlled and keeps the cloud of crap from disturbing the visibility. And then now, like you're talking about, depending on your viz too, like obviously I'm going to use a shorter gun, but also I'll use a single wrap. Like a lot of guys do this, like you don't need a lot of shooting line if you only have 5 feet of viz or 10 feet of viz. You don't need that much shooting line. All it is going to entangle easier with that and create more of a problem. And most of the fish you shoot, in that visibility is going to be right where you can see. They're not going to, you're not going to shoot anything you can't see.
So single wrap.
Yeah, I just keep minimum, right? Like everything in that condition is minimum. Yeah, exactly. Single wrap. And
what about the Speargun itself? Would you use like Duncan Henderson asked what like sizes and types and Brian from Fenton from your area, I think he was saying like he uses a 60 centimeter rob out on pipe gunning and he starts hole hunting. I mean, Duncan's asked if you use a mid-handle. I've never seen a middle-handle pipe gun. That might be interesting, but
they have them. Yeah.
Mid-handle. Yeah. What are your gun recommendations for really like shitty viz? I'm guessing we're talking. What is shitty viz too? 6 foot?
Yeah. So for me, I mean, so if I'm dropping on a spot that I know has fish, I'll hunt it in 3 feet of viz if I know it has fish.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But usually 5 feet of viz, and then for the most part, I always said I used to get paid to dive in this shit, so I wouldn't dive it all that often. But it depends on the situation. We would kind of mix business and pleasure quite often at work. So yeah, 5 feet of viz is fairly decent actually for work. But like you said, so if you're shooting, and it depends on the fish you're shooting. Like if you're shooting you want to be able to wield this thing around and no problem. Like I have a 44-inch 2-band 7.7 millimeter shaft, and I like that thing because I can literally just go and it's got enough power to shoot just about anything and go through it. But if I'm hunting like grouper, or you might want to go for a 3-band short stubby thing where you're looking in a hole and you just want to have. It's kind of like, I don't know if you hunt at all or like with guns, just real guns. Like you've got a different tool for every kind of animal you're hunting, for every situation.
Yeah.
And the same within the military.
I just use the 308 for everything.
Yeah, that works too. 7 mag. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so for the longest time I did that too. I made my own gun 20 years ago, and I was like, I could kill anything with it, So I was destroying these reef fish with this tuna gun. But that's another story. Yeah. But anyways, it shot like a laser, so it worked. But the big thing is, basically you want to be able to maneuver. Like mid-handles are actually great for that. Like a lot of people we could bag on Californians all day with our giant wooden guns, and I mean, it's hilarious because everybody I talk to, everywhere else around the world, even in Hawaii, are like, you Californians, you goddamn planks, wooden planks.
I was literally just having this conversation. I listened to your interview with Chris and you guys talk about it as well. But I'll say this, I went down for some gun testing a little while ago and I had 3 pipe guns and I was using them to shoot a square target or whatever. And I've shot my 3 pipe guns. 2 of them are my regular guns and they were okay. They were pretty good. And then I picked up a Ballon timber gun and it's a 120 and I blasted this thing pinpoint at 5 meters. And that was the first time I ever fired that gun. And I was just like, holy shit, this is awesome. So there's something to be said for those big timber guns. I don't know. Sometimes it's very much personal preference, but there's something nice about having a big solid platform. Yeah,
I mean, for me, I didn't know any better. That's the way my buddy kind of mentored me and told me. He was like, hey, I think I told you about it. Like, you probably heard it, where it's like, hey, if we see a 100-pound white sea bass, it's toast. Like, we're not going to have any problems. Anything that swims in front of us. I'm like, okay, cool. But like, yeah, so you're shooting much bigger shafts, much powerful guns. You need a lot of weight to offset that. Otherwise, your accuracy issues are going to be there. So I don't know how. I would love to know, like, every culture, including Southern California, of Spearos has, like, spear fishermen have their own, like, reason why things developed. And like Mark Healy kind of touched upon it with like the Tahitians and the Hawaiians.
Yeah.
And that was the coolest thing to me. It was like, dude, son of a bitch, like, that's really cool, because I'd love to know the history. And it's probably just in California is what we had available and it's what worked. So nobody, like in animal training, we call it win, stay, lose, shift. We were winning, so why would we change anything, But it's,
walk me through that. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, so like animal training, right? So it's just basic psychology. So it's called win, stay, lose, shift. So if you're winning at something, right, it's like you're not going to change anything. But if you lose...
Oh, you're talking about...
Yeah, then you shift your behavior, right?
Yeah. Just that basic adaptation. It's like if something's ain't broke, don't fix it. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So, I mean, be honest, like animal training, all that stuff's so basic. I mean, it's got to be for animals to understand it, I mean, for the most part, as far as a gun, right? Short, something that doesn't have a lot of kick, depending on what you're hunting. Because if you're looking at holes and you got a bent wrist, you don't want to break your wrist by like firing a cannon. You know what I mean? So that's one thing, and a single wrap. And then obviously, like, here's a big one too, is knives. So guys like to carry knives and they put it on their arms or they put it on their legs and their belt or whatever. If I'm diving in no viz, I'll put my leg inside my calf, strap it to my calf on the inside.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason why is so that any line that's coming doesn't get snagged on that between the knife and your leg.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and it's like every time, like Spectra is just like a magnet. Like, so we would have dudes tangled up all the time. Like, and so that was kind of one of the things we also, and because at the time we were also diving with fins with the straps, we did it where we took the straps where they weren't going on the outside, where the flap was on the outside. We did it the other way, so the flap's on the inside, so it wouldn't foul up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just those things.
Oh, when you're with scuba and stuff, using closed heel foot pockets.
Right. Or open heel, yeah. But the knife on the inside is huge, and the knife on the arm is not the smartest idea, just in case you happen to get the one hand pinned or for whatever reason immobilized, you can't use that arm, then you can't grab your knife off your own arm. You know what I mean? So, some people say 2 knives. Like, no. My own person, like, do whatever you want to do. But, like, for me, I don't need 2 knives. That's one more thing to get snagged on something either. And the thing with no viz, right, you could be talking about fishing line, monofilament, old line, lobster traps, kelp, whatever. Like, you could get snagged and cause a problem. Your own shooting line, float line, whatever.
Have you heard that triangle of access thing with knives? So I don't know if you've heard it. Some of the guys say that, like, you have this triangle on your body. So basically, like, your knife is somewhere within this triangle of access. So either both hands can reach it. Like even if you're all wrapped up, your hands can supposedly get to it. Have you heard that? I mean,
No, that sounds. How would you mount it? Like in your chest or like on a?
yeah, or somewhere so that both hands can reach it easily. So if it's on your belt, then it's sort of in a relatively central point. I've never seen anything mounted up here on the chest, but I'm guessing it's, mid body somewhere where it's easily able to be grabbed by both hands.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because if one hand's trapped, then you've got to grab it with your other hand.
Right.
And then if your leg's trapped somehow, then sometimes it is difficult to get down and grab it. But these are very rare scenarios, but I guess it happens.
Yeah, I guess like anything, right? You try to plan for the worst. Like I've had it with my surfing where when I was surfing and the leash got tangled around a coral head and the current was real strong and I was going to drown in like 2 feet of water. I was like, are you kidding me?
That sounds fun.
Yeah, I got a really good picture of it. Like, it's like, hey, my last moments. And on video, it's kind of funny. But I couldn't reach up, like do a sit-up to like grab my ankle and free it because the water was so strong. And I thought originally, like, I'll just hang out here and just wait for the current to stop because there was sets of waves and it didn't let up. And I timed it. It was like 42 seconds of me just sitting in like 3 feet of water. And I got up. I finally was like, okay, I'm not going to go out like this. And so I ended up being able to finally position myself to grab my leash and let it go. And then all of that. But
crazy.
But yeah, so I try to actually put my my knife pretty high on my calf, not down by my ankle, like really high.
Okay.
And if I do put it on my belt, and I typically do put it on my belt actually, because I try not to dive in bad viz anymore, is I'll put it so that it's on the inside of my hip, not blocking me from kicking or bending over when I do my dive, but just enough.
Yeah, that's the other.
Yeah, just enough on the inside where it's not sticking out,
I bought one of those Hex wetsuits, but unfortunately Warren's no longer making them. But one of the things I love about those suits is the integrated knife pocket.
Yes.
Like super easy to access, but like it just tucks everything away. You don't have to worry about straps or bullshit.
It's perfect.
Like you say, if you put it on your weight belt and it's central body, when you bend to duck dive, the knife can sometimes, stab into either your stomach or your nuts. Yeah. And so there are a few things to think about, I think, with knives. So it's
well, yeah. And then there's the other thing, right? After you stab a fish and you're trying to put your knife back, you want to stab your artery, like if you stick it in your leg. You know what I mean? Like.
Or your dick.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Like if it's mounted there. Like,
I'm not doing that. Nah. Yeah. I'll bleed out before
You've got 3 kids. That's enough. So you could probably do it.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of ship has sailed too. I mean, yeah.
Just a self-vasectomy.
Yeah, it's already happened. So who gives a shit at this point, right? That was a good time. Yeah.
It's only for weeing out of anyway, eh?
Yeah.
Hey, one of the other boys had a good question. Todd, he says, what about a buddy system?
Yeah, I was going to just get to that because I remember reading that, and that's a good question. So, because it's, everybody's like, dive with a buddy.
Yeah.
So when we would for us, like scuba diving wise, we would do single diver because they're like, dude, you have no visibility and their surge, taking a tank upside of the head is like more of a hazard. And your buddy can't really do much for you if he can't see or has no idea. So we would do single diver. But like for us, spearfishing and free diving, when you're dealing with low vis, and the other thing is when you're doing buddy system too, half the time you scare all the fish. Like I see more fish by myself. But there's a way to dive truly by yourself with a buddy. And one way to do is we do kind of like the one up, one down thing, but you're not gonna, as soon as your buddy drops, you're not going to know where he's at, right? So you just talk beforehand, like, hey, I'm going to, what's your average dive? So I'll just be after 2 minutes, dude, if I don't see you, I'm dropping down and getting you or whatever. So what you can do is I obviously give them a little bit of, we're diving in kelp beds usually. So you can see a kelp stalk, so you have kind of a pinpoint. But I give them a lot of space because I don't want to take a spear in there. And then the other thing is, so he drops down, and I don't know where he's coming up at. So for the guy on the surface, don't have your gun pointed straight down, right? So he doesn't swim up into your gun, right? And then the guy coming up, don't have your gun pointed straight up. Like, I don't know if people do that, but like some people have it at the ready, like just in case of sea bass or something. But like in that Vis, I at least have it pointed at a 45-degree angle, somewhere where you're not going to come up and actually impale your buddy on the way up. You know what I mean? Or hit and fire or something. So like the biggest thing that I notice is like just communicate and go, hey, and then check on each other. So we would go in the kelp, probably like honestly 30 feet from each other, and he would drop. And I'd be sitting there on the surface, and he comes up. I'm like, okay, cool, I'm going to drop. And I'll drop. And then we just kind of do that leapfrogging through the kelp bed. And we know, obviously too, we know where each other's at, and you can hear the gunfire and then go over and assist. But yeah, that's the biggest thing. I don't know. I'm not sure is any specifically like else, but that's literally what we do. It's pretty simple, and it's minimally invasive, I guess you could say, right?
I think that's practical, and it's a bit more honest than some of the other rigid buddy protocols we try and adapt, because you've got to give the other guy room to hunt as well. And if you're right over top of him, like we tell people to do, and I actually agree with it when you're in deeper water, but if you're in 30 or 40 feet of water, the fish can hear what you're doing on the surface. If your buddy's directly overhead of you and you're trying to hunt on the bottom, you are disrupting the fish around them. So you've got to give them room. One thing you can do is, if the water's clean enough, is you can swim up towards them as they're ascending. But in dirty water, I think, and in relatively shallow depths, if and it's provided you're sticking with your bottom times, I guess that's a workable and practical system.
Yeah, 100%. Because if you're hunting sea bass, and there's two people kicking around, and usually those fish are at the first, like right above the thermocline. So if you're there and somebody else is there, it's just doubling the chances you're not going to see anything, or you're going to spook everything. So, I mean, obviously the one up, one down, and like you said, when you're dealing with depth, that's when we kind of flip the switch. Like when I go past, let's say 50 or 60, that's when I'll be like, hey, I'm going to drop here. Just stay over me. And, I mean, I guess I want to say you can even put a line down necessarily, depending on where you're going or where you're trying to hunt. If you're trying to hunt certain reef, have that as a reference point. But like, for the most part, we'll just do that. I mean, look, most of the people in California, like, we don't do the one up, one down right over each other because we can't see each other. The minute you drop down, for the most part, they're gone. And then you got a guy down there who's going to fire at something, and I don't want to take a spear, or you could be on the surface and see a white sea bass swim underneath you and shoot it, and then the next thing you know, it went through the sea bass and tagged your buddy on the way up. So we give each other our space, but we communicate. Yeah,
it's a good point. I think dudes in places where there's predominantly shit Vis listen to some of the buddy protocols that we talk about, and then they think, it's impossible where we live, so we'll just carry on just diving solo and be conservative. I don't think it's an excuse. So I think you've still got to have some sort of process in place that's going to minimize that risk the best. And sometimes it's just negotiating with your buddies and saying, hey, look, I don't think we're diving as safe as we could. Like, let's try, like, can we try this? And sort of just experimenting. Like, obviously having good communication with your buddies is the trump card, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I was in Baja recently, the deepest it was like 35 feet at some spot. And we kind of just went, pew, we talked to each other, and there was a boat guy kind of watching out, and we had floats. So we had floats. That's the other thing, right? You have floats, people know where you are. Now, this kind of leads me, I guess, to float line versus reel, because in a kelp bed, like sometimes float line is a pain in the ass, whatever. But what we do here is oftentimes we won't have floats on the end, just have a float line so that people can see you. Because we have so much traffic sometimes on the weekends. If you dive on the weekends in a certain area, you're going to get run over. Like, and it's happened to multiple people. Like, so a flow line helps and a float helps even better. But in a kelp, sometimes it's just not really that possible for a float. So we use like either carrot, like small floats. I grew up, or when I say grew up, but like I always hunted with a reel in the little area that I like to hunt. And it's not as much boat traffic, but a reel is kind of nice because you're less likely to have tangles while you're hunting. Now, after you shoot a fish, that's the other thing. So I kind of look at it like, okay, how much visibility do I need to myself so I don't get run over? And then the other thing is, because nobody pays attention to a flag, like they just don't. Like they're looking for fish, they're trolling or whatever. And it's hard to see regardless. So, and if you get far enough away from your boat, it's like kind of, not the smartest thing either, but it happens. I mean, it does. So with a float line, it's like, do you want to have dealing with tanglement and bullshit for 2 hours? Is it that much necessary? Like, because sometimes it can be like that. Or do you want to have a reel and only deal with bullshit after you shoot the fish? Now, the bullshit you're going to be dealing with after you shoot the fish is going to be a lot, because you're going to be running through that thing and you're going to be cutting them out and you have to go down and, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's all personal preference. And it's situational. Like if I'm diving in La Jolla, I'll have a float line. If I'm diving in Point Loma where I live, I usually just have a reel, because I don't want to it just depends. And who I'm diving with. That's the other thing. Dive buddy system, it's really easy when you have a float line.
I'm just conscious of time, but I'm really enjoying this. There was a few more questions that I feel like we've kind of covered, and I don't think we're going to get to this interview. But was there anything we could close out with for diving dirty water that we haven't covered already?
Just as far as like recovering equipment, if you lose anything, yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, you're right. I mean, we've covered spear guns and reefs, and we've talked about a buddy protocol. We've talked a little bit about the approach to the bottom. I think they were all pretty awesome things. But no, recovering equipment. I interrupted you.
Yeah, no. For the guys that don't know, I mean, I always try to have like a 5-pound dive weight attached to a line and a little float, and so you throw that overboard if you drop anything or whatever in bad viz, and you can go down and circle search it. Sometimes where you live in places with good viz, you don't ever really think about it because you just go down and see it. But like in bad visibility places, just throw the thing overboard, mark it on your GPS if you have that, and then dive down and grab, say if you have 5 feet of visibility, grab 5 feet of line and swim in a circle, 5 feet. Go out another 5 feet and swim in a circle. And you do that ever expanding circle depending on what your visibility is until you find whatever it is you're looking for. So that's just a little tip too, as far as that stuff.
Nice, cool, man. Do you want to increase your bottom time and lower your comfortable operating depth? Of course you do. I've got a great offer for you. It's a 28-day freediving transformation. It can be found at noobspearo.com/TED. You can learn how to increase your bottom time, dive deeper using proven freediving training techniques in the comfort of your own home. And the great thing about the 28-day freediving transformation is you only need a small investment of time. You need 25 to 40 minutes, 3 days a week, and 5 minutes on 2 of the other days. And you can significantly improve your freediving performance in only 28 days. Check it out at noobspearo.com/TED and jump on the 28-day freediving transformation. Hey, I am extremely conscious of time. I reckon we're going to get through 2 more sections, but let's not be overly anxious because I'll have to get Bret Whitman back for a part 2. But wanted to get to probably one of the funniest things you've experienced out spearfishing.
Well, I don't know. Swimming in the reef was pretty funny. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got Carpel Tunnel. So this is kind of a funny story. Like, so I'm supposed to be on deployment and working, right? My wife's here working full time, taking care of my 3 kids, all their extracurricular activities. And I was called her and I was bitching about my wrist really hurting, And I was like, man, I think I got carpal tunnel. And I got back to the doctor, and like, yeah, you got carpal tunnel. And she's like, you got fucking carpal tunnel from spearfishing so much on your deployment. Thank you for your service, Bret. You motherfucker. So that was a good time.
Your wife's got a good sense of humor.
Yeah, she puts up with a lot. I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's probably. And then the other story was when I'm at work, my buddy was under a pier. We were doing, I would swim against the sea lions and dolphins. So we would do these tactical little swims and go under piers and stuff like that. And all of a sudden you just hear, ah, shit. And he was under a pier downtown San Diego and a sewer pipe broke over his head. Just started dumping sewage on him from one of the restaurants. So that was a good time. I mean, I got stories like for days. Like I could write a children's book with all the stuff with the dolphins and sea lions, you know. I got with the dolphin.
I want to. Sorry, excuse me. I want to chat with you more about that. Yeah. I think we'll have to do a part 2 at some stage in the near future. I wanted to round out with some Spearo Q&A. We're not even gonna get to your dive bag today, I'm afraid. But like I said, part 2 in the near future. What's the single best piece of advice you've ever been given for spearfishing?
To be honest, it's why do you spearfish? My buddy told me, why do you spearfish? Just best. The reason why he said that to me was because I was struggling with some stuff, and I was trying to do this and that. And he was like, "Dude, why are you even doing this?" You know, the best piece of advice, I guess, in short, is just relax when you're in the water. When I was younger, I was terrified of sharks, and I'd watch Shark Week all the time, and I'd just and it'd always be in my head, and I don't know, I love sharks too, but I was just terrified. And I told myself not that long ago, actually, where I was like, you know what, you're either gonna do two things. You're gonna stop diving, or you're gonna keep diving and enjoy yourself. So are you gonna let the sharks, whatever it is, this mystical creature that, I always said if it's an odds game, I'm kind of screwed because I'm in the water all the time for work and this and that. So so I just told myself to relax and enjoy diving. Who cares? Let go, and you'll be a better free diver for it. And you'll enjoy yourself much more. Otherwise, just stay out of the water. That's cool too.
Apart from COVID-19, what is your biggest current challenge in your spearfishing, and how are you sort of approaching it?
To be honest, diving deeper, 100 feet past, and be comfortable. You could do it free dive training, but can you do it hunt, right? So
it's a much different proposition.
Yes, and so I'm trying to. I would get squeezes anytime I went past. I would get squeezes often in my throat anytime I went past, around 70. And so I've been doing lung stretches. I've actually been trying to do some cardio for a change and condition myself so that I have, maybe it doesn't even matter, but I have the mental confidence and to be able to calm myself, saying you've done everything, you're prepared, you're good to go, kind of thing before the dive. But the biggest thing I think for me is lung stretches, and throat stretches and diaphragm stretches. I never did any of that stuff before. I never stretched or anything like that, and I feel like that'll help a lot with efficiency and stuff.
You're talking about increasing sort of flexibility and movement of your rib cage,
right? Yeah, I mean, I lifted for 20. I played college football. I was a giant meathead. For the most part, I lifted and lifted and lifted. Never stretched or anything like that. And then what I find, and I had a trainer tell me this, man, if you don't stretch when you get older, it's going to cause serious problems. And I was talking to Mark Healy about this. That's, as I've gotten older, that's the only thing that really gives any relief that allows me to keep doing what I'm doing is either yoga or just stretching. And but what I've noticed now is when I take my breath, I feel like someone's got a vice on me. And I'm pretty sure that's my ribs not being able to stretch as much as they should now that my lungs are I'm just kind of listening to my body more and realize I got to stretch. I got to stretch, period.
Yoga resources or stretching resources, what's your go-to?
Yeah, to be honest, yoga to me is I'm a pretty simple person. It's just stretching, but it's the flow of the stretches they do, So it's let's not overcomplicate things here. It's stretching, okay?
Over spiritualize it.
Yeah, but there is that spiritual aspect that you're supposed to work with your breathing. But I'm I'll work on that separately. I just want to stretch. So for me, I went to a few yoga. I went to some yoga classes with my wife, and then when I was over, it was pretty funny. She was laughing the whole time.
I was too. I didn't have the balls to do it. I just found a YouTube channel.
Yeah,
I found that'd be good peer pressure, positive peer pressure from your wife that got you over the line, I guess.
Oh yeah, so I did that, and then I went over. I was actually, when I was overseas, I was deployed in the Middle East, and I was on a boat with a bunch of Neanderthals, and saw this one guy, he's a Brit. I was on this British ship and he was stretching, and I was like, oh, you guys do yoga? Like thinking I could, if you guys will do it, I'll do it with you. At sunset yoga at 4:30 on the back deck of the ship. And the guy's like, oh, you do yoga? I'm like, yeah. He's like, hey, how about you teach the class? And I was like, I mean, I did yoga. Like I did like 2 classes like last week. And that since that, it's been years, right? So I literally was all stressed out. But like with me, I'm like, okay, let's buckle down. Let's do it. So I wrote out like, and started working on it. And I showed up and like all my EOD buddies and like some other friends. So it's all these like, you know, soft guys, like meatheads and stuff all up there. And I'm leading them all in sunset yoga on the back of the ship and all my boys. And at the end of it, it was so funny. My wife's like, what the fuck? And at the end of it, like there's a picture of us like all silhouetted doing it, you know? And all the boys were like, hell yeah, Brett, you know? And it was so funny because it was like, so I just have this little like 45-minute routine of stretches that I like to do and that I learned. And so I just started I actually put that together for that incident. And so I just stuck with that because it works pretty good. And then I'll Google like diaphragm stretches and stuff like that.
They say the best way to learn something is to teach someone else how to do it. So it sounds like you've done it. I found this guy on YouTube, Sean Vigue, and 45-minute yoga for me is like I get the shits with it after about 30. I've found,
yeah.
But he's just got these like 10 and 15-minute beginner men's workouts, and I can just do them in a pair of my undies in the lounge, and no one's there to watch and laugh at how inflexible and Neanderthal like I am. So it's fantastic.
It makes a difference though, man. I tell you, like, yeah. Yeah,
for sure. I love it.
Yeah, the pride.
I don't tell many people, but I secretly love it.
You know, the pride kind of goes out the window when you get older. I don't know. My buddy said it best. It was like 4th of July, and we were going to the beach, and he's carrying all this kid stuff, like Spider-Man chairs and stuff. And he looks over at me, and he's like, you know what, Brett? Being a parent is fucking gay. And I was just like, what? He's like, look at me. Being a parent is just fucking lame. And he's got like all this kid shit dangled all over him. And like, no offense to gay people. Like, sorry guys. Love you guys. But yeah, I mean, seriously, he's like, just being a parent is so fucking gay. I'm like, okay. And I look over, he's got all this shit. And it's like, you're right, man. Like, you just stop caring when you're a parent because you're dealing with so much other bullshit and other people's crap, dealing with other people's kids. Like, whatever, dude. I've been, you know.
You'll have to buy him a T-shirt from Noob Spearo. Have you seen the Spearo Dad T-shirts I've got?
Yeah, I've seen those. Yeah, that
was a funny idea that my mate helped me create, and I've only really just got him up on the website, but I love that design. I think it's very like there's a sub niche of us lame Spearo dads, and it's just for us. I think
it's funny because it's just like reality versus fantasy, you know. It's like, yeah, okay. I'm 230 right now, and yeah. So
hey, all good, man. I've got I've got another interview starting in a couple, but people can come and find you, and I'd encourage them to download the SpearFactor podcast. It's SpearFactor. And are you on socials and stuff, Brett?
Yeah, it's like the SpearFactor on Instagram, and I have a SpearFactor Facebook group where we try to like share stuff, and then I was TikTok now recently. That's a good time.
TikTok.
Yeah, don't even get me started on that. We could talk for another 30 minutes on that, but you got to do the TikTok, bro. No, it's my kids laugh at me. Some of their friends saw me on TikTok. It was funny, but I'm not dancing around like a monkey with music though. It's just spearfishing videos with the Spearo, Sydney Spearo's guy. Super cool. And
sweet.
My website too.
The website.
Yeah,
is it spearfactor.com or is it the spearfactor.com?
It's spearfactor.com. Yeah. Cool. I just try to post stuff on there for people to check out if they have any ideas and stuff or questions about stuff.
There's heaps of like DIY equipment shit on there that I really like. Like your YouTube channel's good too. Like there's like if guys want to make stuff that doesn't break for pretty cheap, I think you've got a bit of you're starting to grow a little bit of a monopoly on some neat gear on there, man. So keep up your efforts.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean I believe in everything I put up. I'll tell you that much. Like, because I got tired of losing fish over stuff I spent a lot of money on, and it's cheap. But there's also some brands that I recommend that their shit is good, and you pay for it like anything else, but it's really good. Yeah.
Yeah. All good. Hey, looking forward to part 2 of this interview already. Bret, let's hook up again in the future. And and thanks for joining me on the show.
Thanks for having me. It was a blast, man. Really appreciate meeting you guys, all you guys out there.
Bret Whitman, everyone. What an absolute champion. That was a cool episode and some real wicked stuff there on Dirty Vis Diving. Unfortunately, I didn't really get to cover as much ground with Bret as I would have liked, so I'm probably going to get him on again at some stage in the future, and maybe I'll even get an invite over there onto the SpearFactor podcast, but you never know your luck. Check out SpearFactor Podcast. Even on his social media channels, he's always sharing the stoke, sharing the love, and heaps of stories and stuff happening over there as well. So, hey, in 2 weeks, I'm off to do a guide for first-time Bluewater hunters, and this episode will not disappoint. It's Adam Molsky. He's an unusual character, very interesting dude, and really prepared well for this interview. And so it's a full guide to your first time out on a Bluewater proper hunting trip for spearfishing. And jeepers, timely advice, because I haven't done my very first Bluewater trip yet. So I really enjoyed it, really enjoyed picking Adam's brain. So come back in 2 weeks. And as usual, if you love the show, if you froth out on it, head over to patreon.com/NoobSpearo, become a patron listener, support the show, and it helps fund trips out where I get to come out, dive with you guys, and hang out with listeners, hang out with people that I've interviewed on the podcast, and also record a whole lot more new interviews. And so hopefully next year I'm going to the US early in the year. Thanks, guys. Over and out. Interesting message today. If you are a budget-conscious Spearo, head to spearfishing.com.au. Go to the clearance tab. There's a whole bunch of magic deals and bargains in there. Use the code NoSpearo to save a further $20 on every purchase over $200. That's right, spearfishing.com.au. Clearance tab. You'll thank me later.
Is that more spearfishing shit? Yeah, it is, honey, but it's my favourite podcast. You just can't stop yourself. You're obsessed. Well, that's true, but Shrek told me I'd lose my 90s dad look. Baby, it's all for you. For those that are a little obsessed, head over to noobspearo.com/madgear. Got hats, beanies, tank tops, t-shirts and hoodies for noobers who are mad about spearing. noobspearo.com/madgear.